All right, everybody, welcome here at the bonus round. Today with our third AMA, our final, we have two Lens Token here. A very ambitious project. We have Jared here from Two Lens Token, one of the lead decks. They have two, him and Zach. And it's going to be on the Ethereum blockchain, and they're going to have games planned, launch pads, actually very, very much. So I'm very excited to have them here. And yeah, hi Jared.
Hey there, TJ.
Hope you're good.
I know maybe there's no echo, but I just thank you for having me. This is fantastic. I know it's probably late over there, right? What are you, 4 or 5 hours later? For those of you
Actually, I'm 6 hours later. It's already 10:40, but no worries.
Well, I'll try not to keep you. I'm sure you want to get your weekend going, so I'll try not to keep you too long. Maybe about an hour or so. And we'll get going here. So for everyone listening, I appreciate you coming on to check out the project. My name's Jared. I'm one of the co-founders of Two Lens Token. My partner Zach, unfortunately, couldn't make it. Zach and I have been working together in our other businesses for the better part of 2.5 years. We're here in Connecticut, just outside New York City. So essentially one of the suburbs right across the New York State line. I grew up actually in New York State, another suburb with 13 miles from here. So when you come a little north out of Manhattan, there's a lot of neighboring towns where a lot of people tend to live and commute to Manhattan. So it's about a 45-minute train ride into Manhattan. So Zach and I have been working together. We operate a couple of restaurants and a fairly large restaurant group in and around the New York City and Connecticut area. So that's our day jobs, if you will. I go back. I'm 44 years old. I'm married. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I've been kind of in and around finance all my life. My first job out of college, I was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. I was there for 3 or 4 years until I found I was blessed with an opportunity. I've always been a musician, so I got lucky and I was offered a position to play drums in a very famous United States boy band back in the day. This is the late 90s. And so I was on the road with them for the better part of 3 or 4 years. I had left Morgan Stanley, and then when they disbanded, I actually joined another project, and I toured with them up until about 2009, and then I retired at the birth of my daughter. So I'm getting some people saying that we're echoing. How bad is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I could try and log in with my iPad. This is my phone, which seems to be better than the iPad. So what are we thinking?
It's echoing a bit, but for me it's okay. Like I don't have a problem right now to understand you. So I think we can go ahead.
Do you want to see if any of the listeners are having more of an issue than
somebody's just typing, but it seems nobody complained here, so I think it's okay. I think we can go ahead.
Okay, great. So that said, after being on the road for about 13 years, I really am dating myself. I got a little bit back into finance, doing some trading. I guess I had been trading all along. And at that time, marijuana stocks in the United States were starting to kind of take off. So I ended up doing pretty well in those. I don't smoke it, but I was a fool not to make some money in it. And and then I also was getting back into restaurants. It was always a passion of mine, and I actually owned a restaurant just outside New York City. And man, now I'm here. Hold on 1 second, guys. While I'm talking. Let me see if I can get on through my iPad, if that sounds better. Hold on 1 second. One moment, I'm going to mute for a second.
No worries. Should I play the trailer already?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
I might actually try this. I may even log in and log out.
Play the trailer, guys.
Egypt, Previously known in ancient times as Two Lands, is home to some of the most enigmatic questions in the history of mankind. But just who comprised this advanced civilization? We know the Egyptians studied and worshipped the stars as the fabric of the sky. They believed that when a person died on Earth, their soul returned to its original home in the celestial river for divine union and regeneration. There was this fascination with the mysteries of the cosmos, simply spiritual in nature, a philosophy or a divine ideology for which to live by. Or could there be more to it? Might the Egyptians have laid out their kingdom using sacred geometry, associated with the divine principle of a Nile in the sky, where terrestrial localities had cosmic equivalents, by aligning their monuments and temples to various stars in our solar system? A literal duality, their physical world living in harmony with their celestial world. As above, so below. Is it then possible that in antiquity the ancients possessed an advanced knowledge of the heavens that has been lost or forgotten through the epochs of time? Perhaps the keys to our future are hidden deep within the past. So as some may say, to the moon, we at Two Lands believe, from the stars.
Now I know what they are. Looks nice.
All right, guys, can you hear me a little better now that I'm on my iPad?
Yeah.
Is it a little bit less of an echo?
The echo is less, yeah.
Yeah, it's less for me too. So I guess that's a good time. All right. So that's our little CGI trailer. That's the intro to Two Lands. Kind of a little fun movie trailer. In fact, with my musician background, myself and an old band member of mine composed that music, which was a lot of fun. It was one of the first things we did. In fact, that trailer was the very first thing we did, even before we registered as a LLC here in America, was that video. So that was done last November. And after composing about the music, we finished it right around Christmas time. So we've been working on this project since November. What we did was, the very first thing that was important to us was we registered as a LLC here in America. We wanted to make sure that we were SEC compliant as best as possible, and I can talk a little bit about how that impacts, how as a registered LLC it'll impact. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Can you hold 1 second? My wife's trying to get out, and the car's in the way. I apologize. One moment. Can you go ahead, TJ? Can you play the trailer? I'm going to talk about that. I apologize.
Yeah.
1 second. I'll be right back.
No worries, no worries. Okay, let's play this trailer. Oh.
All right, guys, I'm back.
Man, is there any possibility if you might check some settings for your microphone. I think some people, including me, can't really hear you well. Actually, you have maybe.
I've tried 2 devices now. I've been using it all day. It shouldn't be a problem. Is it any better right now? How about that?
Cool. Better for you now.
Can you say something more?
Sure. Is that any better? Testing.
From my end, not really, but I'm not sure how's everybody else's. If you guys can give some feedback, man.
I can hear him. Oh, I can hear him perfectly. So, and he's not echoing anymore.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think this iPad's definitely better than from my phone. So, all right. Well, that was just our game trailer. Apologies, I was blocking my wife's car, and I should have probably. We have a pretty big driveway. I should probably stop doing that. But anyways, so let's get going. So let's get into it. So yeah, Two Lands. You watched that movie trailer. We are a passion project. One of the things that when Zach and I started to decide if we wanted to build out a crypto project was, all right, we work well together. We run a couple businesses already here in America, just out of New York City. We're busy all the time, which means we can execute because we know how to manage our time. How or what would we do? How would we go about this, number one? And what kind of token, what would we want to do? So after, talking about it for a while, we realized we both had a significant passion for history. I've been a big history buff my entire life, particularly ancient history. And it's almost like not even, and it's also ancient history in the fact that there's mainstream, right, history, and also alternative history, and the kind of the gap in between, because there's a lot of different theories as to our origin story. And then we started talking, and then, when you start doing some research, isn't it fascinating that our species as humans have been on this planet for 200,000 to 300,000 years, yet, with recorded history, there's only 6% out there that we know about kind of who we are and where we came from.
Hey, sorry to bother you again. Can you please maybe try rejoining, because quite a few people can't really hear anything. If you can try leave the Telegram, maybe restart the app and rejoin the voice chat, maybe it will help, maybe.
All right, I'm back. Is this any better without the camera? Can you guys hear me?
Well, like I said earlier, I can hear you. Let me just see the guys. Cool, can you hear him now?
Pretty much the same, but maybe TJ, after when Jared says something, like maybe you can say when he finishes some, like when he says a bit more sentences, maybe you can make a short summary or something what he said or something like that. I don't know.
Is it helping any better without the video of my face, just the audio?
From my side, not really. And I think Eisger and Mark have pretty much the same feedback, I think. I'm not sure what it could be wrong right now, actually. Is it Telegram, or do maybe have any other device, maybe telephone, or...
These are my only two. I got my phone, and I have my iPad. I'm gonna try a different room. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. Let's see if going up to the office or something helps out any better.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's also a good idea, yeah. Let me try this.
Yet?
Yeah, I actually think, and the guy actually recommended to increase your volume. Actually, there's a setting to put you on 200%. So, yeah, I think that might help as well.
200% on what?
On Telegram settings, we can set how much we can hear you. So it's 200%, and it's much better now.
Okay, hold on a second.
Everybody in the voice chat if you go to this one.
Okay. Is that any better?
Yeah, it's better for me.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thank
That's
you. We're
that
gonna
glare
cut the
going on. Is that going to be a problem, that glare, guys? I'm sorry. Try and move a little bit. Is that a little better? Sorry about that light in the background.
All good, all good. It's the first day for Give Us a House tour.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting start.
Sorry about this.
No, it's my fault. Something's going on with these. Hopefully, maybe the internet connection's a little bit better. All right, so let me pull up some stuff that I want to talk about. All right. So back to the origin story. That's what Two Lands is about. We're digging back into the fact that we know little to nothing about our history. So one of the things we wanted to do was solve, or at least not solve that problem, but help contribute to others that truly can solve that problem. After doing some more research, we found that archaeologists in the field, people doing research and data and all that kind of stuff, are struggling these days, and they have been for the better part of the last 10 years, if not longer, frankly, because they don't have the resources anymore. A lot of those kind of expeditions and stuff used to get grants from various institutions, universities, all that kind of stuff, but the well's kind of drying up, and it's become more difficult for them to get out in the field and start digging in the dirt, for lack of a better word. The big shots, we like to call them the fat cats, that used to contribute a lot to these missions in an effort to find things, relics of our past. They're more concerned, the Elon Musks and all of them, they're more concerned with going to space now. So the funding is dried up, and we see an area through blockchain technology essentially to help fund. So we're a very high mission project in that as an appreciating asset, we hope to be Two Lands. We think we found the way via blockchain and through our DAO to help fund various projects. In fact, we want to hand over the keys to that through our DAO to the community to help vote which particular digs they want to do, or at least contribute to. And it's not even just, Egypt was fun to, everyone kind of loves ancient Egypt. There's so much marketing potential there. They're fascinating people. It's just, it was a good place to start. But we're not solely tied to Egypt. We'd like to help and contribute to, research, archaeology all over the world. So Egypt was just a good starting place because it's very tangible. People can relate to it. Also makes for pretty good marketing, with endless NFTs, pharaohs, all that kind of stuff, which we have in development. We've actually done 3 different collections. So, and because of the traction we're starting to get here, we're kind of being dubbed like the Indiana Jones meets Da Vinci Code of crypto. Lots of cryptics, hieroglyphs, puzzles, all that kind of fun stuff. Hidden Easter eggs in a lot of our marketing, if not all of our marketing. So we're trying to kind of play that up, and Zach and I kind of love that stuff anyway, so it seemed like it was the perfect fit for both of us. Two Lands, actually the name Two Lands is what Egypt was called prior to it becoming or being called Egypt. There was Upper and Lower, and it was known as Two Lands. And then in 3100 BC, it was united, and it was ancient Egypt as we know it. So that's kind of, where the name came from, to give you a little bit of clarity. There's a lot of duality in ancient Egypt, and hence there's a lot of duality in this project. A lot of double entendres, triple entendres. There's hidden codes in a lot of the stuff we do in this project, so keep your eyes peeled. We also look at that duality as like our world that we live in here, but also the metaverse and that whole other virtual reality world. So, and we kind of play on this and a lot that you're going to see more to come as well. So that's kind of like the problem and the solution. How we're going to fix it, and I can go through the tokenomics of the project and all that kind of stuff, and how it's going to play into our mission. But I'd like to say too, we're getting confused a little bit. So yes, we have a game in the works. I can already play the beta version on my phone. It's a lot of fun. It is an endless runner. It's called Pyramid Scheme because not only is it pyramids are always in Egypt, but we like to have a lot of fun because everyone calls crypto a pyramid scheme. So it was the perfect fit because we're anything but that. We're a very high mission
integrity-driven project. So it seemed like there was no better name for the game. And, you know, when we were trying to figure out our very first game, we wanted to kind of get games that could be, you know, just fun to play, and not even necessarily crypto related. So Endless Runners, Temple Run, Relic Run, those type of games are for everyone. In fact, we intend not only have our game linked via crypto, but we're also gonna have it probably free on the App Store as well for anyone to play. You know, if my daughter wants to download it, you know, that kind of stuff, and her friends. So we're gonna go about that very strategically, and in fact, we hired a game developer out of Spain who's been working on it, and we developed the first 3 levels, and now he's going to continue to do more, but we also just are about to start a pre-production plan with Robot Sea Monster, who did Axie Infinity. And what they're going to do is they're going to link the crypto portion and the NFT portion to that Endless Runner, but we're also going to develop a little bit of an arcade suite of our gaming arm, if you will, where we're going to have games be interoperable with each other. So we're kind of thinking of different games, and we're always about the community helping us think about new ideas. So if there's any type of games you think would do well in this space and also with our concept, please drop us a line. But the point is we're going to try and work with them, and they're big shots, which we're very fortunate to be. They're out of California, and we're very fortunate to have a working relationship going. And we're going to start really executing with them after public sales completion. But the thought process was, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just say we had a bubble breaker rather. Not that we're going to, but let's just say we did. And you pop the bubble, and an NFT dropped, and you collect the NFT. It'd be cool to be able to take that NFT and then perhaps use it in one of our other games. Maybe you upgrade a skin or a power up or what have you. So that's what they're going to help us build out. But the first game, Pyramid Scheme, I can already play it on my phone. It's a lot of fun. The crypto isn't linked to it yet, and that's what Robot Sea Monster is going to come in and help us with. So that's the gaming arm. But what I was trying to get at was we're not a game token. It's one little facet of what we're trying to do. So, you know, we realize that, you know, P2Es, you know, they're huge in the market. So we'd be foolish not to actually explore that and actually have one. And we like games. We're not a gaming token, but, you know, we want to have fun games and more than one, maybe even perhaps a huge metaverse game down the road a year from now. So we're going to have a whole gaming arm. We're going to have a whole NFT arm. We're going to have a whole merchandising arm. We're going to have strategic partnerships. I'm talking with the first VR university in the United States is Stushia about having a partnership with them, but perhaps there's blockchain classes that they offer and or history classes that they offer named after two lands. I'd like to personally, with some of the money we earn, I'd like to give some scholarships out to some of our community holders and put some kids through college. That's important to me. So that's one of the things we're talking about too, because we're a high mission project and I believe in giving back. And it's important to us to continue the pursuit of knowledge because that's what the ancient Egyptians stood for. That's what we stand for. It's our passion. So we're going to do our best to kind of give back in every way possible. Let me scroll a little bit through the white paper. So if you guys are kind of taking a peek, you can maybe bring it up too. And we can ask any questions as we keep going. One of the things before I get into the white paper that I want to talk to you about was being that we're in the United States, it was very important for us to go about this from a compliance perspective. What I mean by that is, so the first thing we did was we registered as an LLC. That gives us all the tax implications, and we're a legitimate business registered in the United States in the state of Connecticut. So that was check number one. Number two was we knew we were going to obviously start a private sale, and we were going to be offering 8% in our private sale. But we wanted to be, as SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, compliant as possible because we all know regulations, specifically in the United States, is coming down the pike, probably not, if not next year, the following. So one of the things that we really wanted to be diligent about, thorough about was, all right, what could that possibly mean? It could mean a few things. Are they going to classify crypto as a digital asset, a commodity, a security? We just don't know. So what we wanted to do was to treat it. So what we did was we hired a couple of attorneys where we spoke with several attorneys that specifically specialize in SEC rules and compliance. So we ended up finding some ones that we really liked. And we said, okay, guys, Mirtha Colleen is the name. We said, okay, why don't we do this? Forget that we're a crypto. Pretend we're Facebook going public and we were doing a regular stock IPO. What would we do to be compliant? So the SEC, if they were to audit us, would give us the thumbs up. So that's kind of how we treated it. And it took a little while. It took the better part of 2 months, but we got it. So we're as SEC compliant as you possibly could be in the United States right now. And we see that as an advantage. Not only do we feel proud that we can, advertise that and we know we're safe, at least for now, but we also know when other projects start, continue to be developed in the space, and if for some reason in a year or two from now, the SEC starts to dig into projects that had pre-sales or private sales, and then they might go back to their books and see how they, executed those private sales, and then there could be some problems. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, so we dodged that bullet, and we're happy about that. One of the things I wanted to bring up about that private sale was, in order to be SEC compliant in the United States, you have to go about it a couple different ways. One of the things is you have to have a bare minimum of a 1-year lockup, right? So the way we did that was we decided to do, obviously, a vesting schedule, but we wanted to be litigious about it in that we wanted to stagger it a bit. So we decided to do it in an interesting way. So how we did it was our private sale investors had to sign a contract stating that they had to be a third party. They were going to lock their tokens for a bare minimum of 1 year. They had to do it anyways to be SEC compliant. And then after that 1 year, 25% of their tokens would be available for them to withdraw. Now, two things. Number one, if they wanted to withdraw, they could. And we did the math, and based on what the average, our potential statistical forecasting of where our token could be at that time, most likely, even if it dipped 50% after our public sale, they would recoup roughly 75% of their initial investment. So they were safe, or at least mostly safe. The other part was we said to them, hey, guess what? After that 1 year, if you choose to lock another year and not withdraw, you're 25%. We'll give you an extra 10% out of our reserve budget, as a thank you, so you can lock liquidity even further. And all of us, the dev teams, myself and Zach, we're locked. We're locked, at least bare minimum 18 months, but we're probably going to lock a lot longer. So because this is going to be a long project, and it should be. So that was the first part. Second part was they'll be able to withdraw in full after 18 months. So 100% of their funds will be available to after 18 months. They can pull them out and they can do what they want with it. So the other thing that was important in order to be SEC compliant was there's something called accredited versus non-accredited investors. So you have to have the majority in a private sale accredited. What that means is basically two things. If you're not in a corporation or some type of a charitable organization, or if you're just basically a private citizen, you got to meet one of two qualifications. You have to have at least a net worth of $1 million or more, or you have to at least make $200,000 to $300,000 a year, basically, and expected to do so for like a 2 or 3 year period. So essentially what the SEC does is they want to make sure that people in private sales are of high net worth enough where if they lost everything, it wouldn't, they wouldn't lose their house, basically. So that was another thing we had to do. We had to seek private sale members that had high net worths. So the good thing with that is being in the area we're from tends to be a kind of an affluent area in and around New York City, and a lot of our friends and family, in fact, our private sale members are all friends and family. It was done all word. It was done all word of mouth because we had to do it word of mouth because you're not allowed to advertise for a private sale with the SEC. So we weren't even allowed to send an email. So word of mouth, we raised $80,000 in about a month and a half. And this was in a tough market. This is back in July and August when everything was falling to hell. So that's how we executed the private sale, and we also made them sign a contract that if we want, and we will, publish the terms of the private sale for all to see. So once we did that, we were able to really start developing the project. So why don't we get into the tokenomics? I'm going to pull that white paper up.
Yeah.
And so the private sale, I'm going to blow by the roadmap. You guys can take a look at it. We've already checked a ton of boxes off that anyways. So if you're looking at the tokenomics, which is page 12 on our white paper, you'll see that the private sale is 8%. So that's what we sold, 8% at $80,000. Okay. Public sale, that's going to be coming tentatively December 21st. We might bump it up a few weeks. We might push it back a few weeks. It's around the holidays, so we're trying to decide if that's a good time to launch. We're going to be doing some statistical forecasting to determine if that's the right time or not. It's kind of a gamble. It's a tough call. People are excited. They're in the spending mood at the same time. They're watching their budgets and all that kind of stuff. And then January hits in America, they're paying their taxes and they're worried about that. So there's a lot of variables that we're trying to look into to determine if December is going to work for us. Right now it's December 21st, which is the winter solstice, which happens to be just symbolic for this project because of something I'm going to talk about next. So that's where we stand right now. It's looking like December 21st. My gut tells me we should maybe bump it a week, early to mid-December. And again, please, by all means, whatever you guys think regarding the community, I'd love your feedback if you think if that's a good idea, because I think waiting until January at this point might be too far off, and I worry about the kind of January winter, the doldrums, if you will, after the holidays. Things can slow down a bit. I'm gonna mention something here first. This is the first thing. You guys are the first to hear about this, and we are extremely excited about this. This started today, day one. All right. We just signed on as a partner with Moonbound Consulting. Now, they are coming in as an advisory role, and they are going to be working with us on a weekly basis to literally navigate through everything. Now, Tony, the owner, had brought his project, his token, MicroPets. He had brought it to a 550 market cap to a $220 million market cap in 3 weeks. So he comes with tremendous pedigree. He loves this project. He's in the United States here, which makes it easy for communication because of time zones and all that kind of stuff. And he's coming on. We start Monday. We've already met with him, but we start Monday. And we're going to go through this thing soup to nuts. We're going to look at all ERCs that have launched in the last year, what worked, what didn't work. And we couldn't be more elated. And he said, he gets tons of inquiries, and he takes like 1% of the projects that come his way. So we are stoked. This is like, it's music to our ears because we've been looking for that type of strategic partnership for a while now. And we're also dealing with a marketing company that we're looking to bring on shortly as well to work in tandem with each other. So we're going to be getting ready for a full-fledged marketing campaign coming soon. But Zach and I we take our time. We take tons of meetings. We've probably spoken with, 13 to 15 different marketing firms since July. And we've just been trying to find the one that clicks. We also, take our time because you'll learn a lot. Every time you have a conversation with someone, you'll learn something different. So we've been in no rush, and frankly, our private sale investors haven't been rushing us at all. They've been very appreciative that we are taking our time because they realize this is a startup. We're treating this company like an American startup, not just like a token. And with any type of a business here in the States, these kind of startups take basically working 100 hours a week and putting everything you got into it. So they've exercised patience, which we've been pretty appreciative about. So we don't have to worry about like launching this thing and just so they're happy. So we've been taking our time. In fact, we had originally planned to launch this project in May, just to give you an example of how we keep making sure that we're on track. Because as soon as the market started to turn, we weren't going to just put this out there into the universe. So we decided, hey, let's continue building out this ecosystem because it is a big one, and we'll release when we think the time is right. So that's what we're doing. So we got the 8% private sale. Back to the economics, right? Public sale is going to be a 20%, right, raise. Liquidity, right? We're going to be raising 15%, or 15% of it's going to go to liquidity. Our team wallets are going to be 10%. Really, that's just going to be tossed right back into marketing, as was in our reserve is essentially, which is another 10%. Is just going to be when we offer, if we need to offer more liquidity to different exchanges. And then the ecosystem, that's going to cover basically more marketing, because a lot of it and most of it's just going to be tossed into both marketing and liquidity. That's essentially what's going to happen. That's where this money's going to. Up until this point, we have yet to spend $1 of any of our private sale investor money. Zach and I have funded this out of our own pockets thus far. So we wanted to be very litigious and thoughtful about how we spend that private sale money. So that's why we're been interviewing so many marketing companies and consulting agencies. And I think we found, well, now we signed Tony. but I think we found another one that I won't mention until we actually sign the paperwork, but hopefully next week we'll start getting that going as well. So Two Lands token is a true governance token. That's what the first public sale is going to be for. And we actually have two tokens. We have another one called Pharaoh that's going to be coming out 6 months maybe from now. It's already finished, source code done. But we're going to release that. It's going to be a utility token, so we're going to release that in lockstep with our gaming arm of our ecosystem. So the way Two Lands is going to work, quite simply, it was designed to be very streamlined, very simple. So there's going to be a transactional rebase tax, right? So, and it's going to be basically split in half. So 1.19%, if you're looking, is going to be thrown to a dead wallet, taking it out of circulation, right? Because we want to be a hyperinflationary token. So 1% is going to be sent to a dead wallet with every successive transaction, right? The other percent is going to be redistributed as reflections to all Two Lands token holders at that given time based on how many tokens they own. So the more tokens you own, the more of that percentage you'll receive. So we had it audited by Seifu, a couple others too, but Seifu was the last one, and we got a 98.8, which put us in the top 1% of their audit. So the KYC badge, all that kind of stuff. All right. So total circulating supply is 1 trillion. That's what we're starting with. All right. And then we have a bunch of burn mechanisms too that I want to talk about. So after public sale, we're going to immediately burn 5.55%. So what we wanted to do was we were really thoughtful in how we would approach the burning, right? So we didn't want to just burn a ton off the top, because how does that help any investor that comes in 3, 6, a year later, however many months later? What's the incentive to get in and hold? So everything we kind of did from a structuring perspective was, how do we keep people to hold? If I were to buy this token, how would I not want to sell this thing at a 2x, 3x, 5x, right? So that's how we approached this thing. So there's some taxes. And this is where I think is pretty cool. So one of the burn features that I'm really excited about is it was going to be a manual burn, but we're actually going to make it a smart contract. In fact, we're starting to work on that next week. So that's going to be developed. It's going to be locked and loaded. Because the one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to take our burns, and we wanted to essentially take 73 or 72% of the project out of the dev's hands. So basically, everyone that comes in looking at this project could say, hey, these guys are legitimate. They're offering 73%. The transaction tax is 29% right off the bat. The burn structure. So, and in addition to all the other things they're offering, we can trust this project that isn't a rug pool, because the majority of it isn't even in the dev's hands. So that was how we wanted to make sure we can earn people's trust. And then what we wanted to do with the burn structure was we wanted to create incentive for people not to sell. So one of the things we did is called our sacrificial moon burn. The Egyptians loved the stars. It was a major part of their daily lives. So they celebrated and worshipped full moons, particularly certain ones every month. So we thought it would be fun that we would pay homage to those ancient Egyptians, and we would celebrate as well by doing one burn every month for every full moon that plateau or it reached the apex of the Giza pyramid. So once a month on a certain date, like I'll give you, if you look down to page, where is it? 14? I can't even read it anymore. Page 14 on our white paper, you're going to see. So like, for instance, January 7th, 2023, it's the wolf moon, right? So as soon as that moon hits the top of the Giza pyramid, it's automatically going to execute. And in addition to that burn, we're going to be releasing limited edition NFTs for each different moon phase. So for instance, I had a lot of fun with that. So I did a wolf moon. The next one is snow moon in February. March 7th is worm moon, and so on and so on. And I can't wait to share those with you. They're beautiful landscapes, of Egypt, and they're all specifically tying into whatever moon phase there is. There's Easter eggs within them, so check those out. Look at it really closely. So that was one way we wanted to have a little fun with it from a marketing perspective, but also from a holder perspective, it's like, all right, you got burns coming every month. So not only are there going to be limited NFTs being dropped with those burns, but you also know every month, once a month for a 12-month period, is that you have a burn coming. So you might as well hold, because there's another burn coming in a month, right? The other way we did that was something called our holder burn. And our holder burn is similar in the sense, but it's based on benchmarks. So, for instance, as soon as we hit 500 holders, well, we're going to burn 5.5%, 5.55% as soon as public sale's over, right? But then we have some holder benchmarks. So after 500 holders, we're going to burn another 3.14% pie. After 1,000, we're going to burn another 2.2%. And then we have, 10,000, a 25,000, a 50,000 benchmark holder burn, so that people, when they get in, no matter what level they get in, they'll know there's still some burns going. They're going to have the sacrificial burns, they're going to have the holder burns, and they're just going to have the basic rebase burns, and burns constantly being sent to a dead wallet through that transactional tax. So that's kind of how we structured TOT. To make it so people can have a little fun with the project, but also, essentially, we want to make sure people don't want to sell this, and we know people are going to, but because it's such a high mission project, we really want to put our best foot forward so that we can really help fund these high mission projects and archaeological digs we want to all over the world. So let's go down to our DAO. So we're going to have some fun with the DAO. It's going to be funded in various different ways. So if you're looking down on our page, white paper page 17, man, I'm blind. Just don't get old, guys. So it's going to be funded several different ways. One of them through the utility token, Pharaoh token, right? So 25% of the net sales from our play to earn game, as well as other games, are going to get sent directly to the DAO, right? There's also a transactional tax. So there's 0.5% tax through when our Pharaoh releases. That's going to get sent to fund the DAO. Our NFT marketplace, 10% of all sales through that is going to get sent to fund the DAO. And then any of our merch sales, 25% of that is all going to go to the DAO. There will be a cap, but essentially anyone that, as DAOs work, anyone that is a community member will be able to vote to determine which archaeological, expedition, dig, research, whatever it's the community's money. So wherever you want to see it go, let's vote. Let's go help some folks around the world dig up some cool stuff. All right. So that's essentially how I'm sorry if I'm rushing. I know it's getting late there. So I'm trying to kind of, in the interest of your time, kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of this. And you can kind of delve into it on your own. Let's talk about Pharaoh token. It's going to be our second token. It's going to be utility token, and we're going to release it essentially around the same time as the game, the first game, the pyramid scheme. So what's neat about it is it's actually it's a pretty cool story, because we're actually looking to get it patented. But I'm going to share with you some of the tokenomics, which we think are pretty cool. So we're actually going to have a public sale for this one as well. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, we'll be whitelisting people for it. But so if we're looking down on page 19, you'll see the tokenomics. It's going to be a 20% public sale, another 10% burn. Liquidity is going to be 35%, ecosystem 10%, and reserve 25%. And upon the completion of the Pharaoh token, 2% of the total supply is going to be burned immediately, right? So, and holder burns are going to take place, and it's going to be 1% essentially, very similar to Two Lands token. And we're going to have benchmarks, holder marks. So 1% as soon as we hit those benchmarks to keep people holding. But when we designed Pharaoh, one of the things that was important to us was, okay, let's just say you're a Two Lands token holder, but you don't really care about Pharaoh. But why should you care about Pharaoh? Even if you don't want to buy Pharaoh, how can it help you? How can it help Two Lands? How can you make more money just by, holding Two Lands and not even caring or purchasing Pharaoh? So that's how we approached it. So we did it a couple ways. So if you go down to the white paper, and you can look at page 20, and I'll just read it for you for those that aren't looking. So basically all transactions involving Pharaoh are going to be subjected to a 5% transactional tax, right? All right. So it's going to be split up. That tax is going to be split up a few different ways. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is, so upon completion of the public sale and release on Uniswap, 2% of the total supply of Pharaoh token is going to be burned. Okay. So here's where and I talked to you just briefly about those 1% holder burns, which were those benchmark burns as people start to hold and more people start to hold Faro. So there's going to be those burns as well. Here's where I think it starts to get fun. So Weath reflections. I don't think I've seen that yet. Maybe it's out there, maybe it's not, but I don't think I've seen that. So there's going to be a 2% transactional tax. So remember, you got the 5% tax, and then within that 5%, it's broken up a few different ways. So of that 5%, the 2% that's going to be coming out is going to be purchasing Weath, right? And then it's going to be whatever the current market price is, and then it's going to be redistributed to all Faro token holders. So 2% for every successive transaction is going to pay out all Faro holders in Weath Rapid Theory. I think that's pretty neat, right? The second thing we wanted to do to add into how it ties into Two-Lands token was we said, all right, well then, how about we take another part of that tax, buy Weath automatically, and then buy back Two-Lands token and send it to a dead wallet. So that's what it's going to do. So part of the tax is going to get sent and buy Weath, and it's going to get sent to a dead wallet, and the other half is going to be redistributed as wrapped Ethereum to any holders as a dividend, right, as a reflection. So, and then 1%, the remaining 1% is going to be split in half to go to the DAO, half to go to marketing for the project. So that's essentially the tokenomics of how Faro is going to work. I haven't really spoke to many people about it yet. I think you guys might be the first AMA where I've mentioned it. So, but we think it's pretty cool. There's another thing that we're building out, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. It's called the Everdeen Initiative. There is a trailer there. I'm not sure if you'd like to play it or not. Or people could
Let me look.
If they want. We did do a CGI trailer. But it's going to be a web-based platform, and it's going to be a way for us to do projects for our DAO. It's a charitable foundation, basically. And how it's going to work is we're going to be looking for accredited projects, probably universities or some very high-profile alternative history projects that are trying to solve a problem, be it the Giza pyramids, be it Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, no matter where. People are going to be able to apply to be listed on the Everdeen Initiative. The Everdeen Initiative is going to work in that it's going to be a way for, let's just say, a project out of Giza. For instance, I just finished a class over the summer. I took a course with Peter Der Manuelian, who's the head of ancient Egyptology at Harvard University. So I took him, and one of the things at Harvard's been on the Giza Plateau since the late 1800s. So they have a thing called the Giza Project, in which they are constantly looking for charitable donations to help their boots on the ground people. They're digging every day, and all the research and all. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it costs a lot of money. But one of the things that could help them would just be basic supplies. GoPros for the people in the field, bottles of water, all the different types of, the technology they use, all that stuff costs money, and it adds up. So one of the things we wanted to be able to do was to say, okay, this is an opportunity for us to have a charitable foundation where we're going to feature these projects on this web-based platform. We'll be able to say, hey, the Giza project, here's the list of things that, they're looking that they could use your help with, and could you please maybe go donate? And some of the more popular ones, and we're going to feature multiple ones at a time, perhaps for a 3 or 4 month period, and then we'll swap them out for new projects. But the ones that kind of make it to the top of the list, and we'll let the community decide, but those are probably going to be the ones that end up being featured on the DAO. But everything's going to be community driven. My guess would be the more popular ones there are the ones that are then going to go and be accepted to the DAO, which will actually see the real funding from Two-Lands. So basically, we're having a foundation, we're offering help and assistance, and essentially showcasing various different projects around the world, and then we're going to use our DAO to probably maybe take the best of the best, and have our community decide which ones receive funding for. And that's how the Everdeen's going to work. We're trying to do a bunch of different strategic partnerships here in America. We're actually in talks with a beer, believe it or not, up here in New England, in this area, because it turns out the ancient Egyptians were really big into drinking beer. In fact, the third and smallest pyramid, the pyramid of Menkaure, The people who actually built that pyramid were called the drunkards of Menkaure, funny enough, because after the day's work was ending, they'd all sit around and drink beer. And the ancient Egyptians had some really cool recipes for beer. So one of the things we're looking into is actually having our own Two Lands beer with one of the major beer companies here on the East Coast. So we're in talks with them as well. So we're seeing Two Lands more of a brand. And, again, back to, we're going to have the NFTs, the game, there's various different, and the ecosystem is going to start to get big quick. But really, it's all an effort to fund the mission we're trying to support. It's a high mission project. We're not going to sacrifice integrity for growth. We're not subject to any timelines. We want to get it right. This is our baby. Zach and I are very capable. We run two very big businesses here in the States. So I know what we're capable of doing when we put our mind to it. We've been having a lot of fun with this. We've met a lot of great people along the way. Assad, he's not on this call. He's actually out of Bangladesh. He wrote our source codes. And he's just been a tremendous asset. We've been working with him since day one. So it's really been the three of us that have founded this project. And since then, now it's starting to really grow legs. We're starting to get featured. We haven't even really done any marketing yet. These few AMAs that I've done the last week, this is just the start. We haven't really done anything yet because we wanted to wait till we were ready, till we had something to show for it. A lot of tokens get out there and they promise the world, and they don't have anything. And I know they need the money before they can, build what they want to build. And to a certain extent, that's true with us because, when you hire Robot Sea Monster, we did Axie Infinity, they're not cheap, but we wanted to make sure we already had a game in development paid out of our own pocket. So at least we could say, hey guys, look, we're not kidding around. We already have a game that I can play on my cell phone. Now we're going to have some money to pay Robot Sea Monster to make it even cooler. So, that's kind of how we approach things. Everdean's already being built. Code Imagination is a boutique software firm here in New York City. They're already building it. So one of the things that Zach and I are all for is we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We're not going to sacrifice integrity for growth, and we're also not going to overpromise, and underdeliver. In fact, we want to underpromise and overdeliver. So that's why time, we don't care as long as it takes to get things right, because that's ultimately kind of what it comes down to. I've been running
Awesome.
for 40 minutes, so if you guys have any questions, let's fire away.
Yeah, I like when devs know what they're talking about, and you don't need to pull them all the questions out of the mouth. So I really like your passion to the project, and the fact that you're actually coming in that space now 2 months before launch already, with a $80,000 private sale already collected before you even enter Telegram, and getting people in your channel tells me actually that you plan something really, really big here, and if I look on your website, what I did, and along your white paper is 23 pages. So it's actually a book. That's not a white paper. That's already a book. There's all information on it.
I was an English major in university, so at least it went to good use somehow. But also I should add to that, one of the things that it looks like, so one of the things that we're going to be dealing with first beyond our release date, which I said was tentatively scheduled for December 21st, is two of the main things we want to talk about. And with Tony from the consulting firm we just hired is the small and large cap in these uncertain times. We're a high mission project. We've been approached by various VC firms already, and this project's going to raise a lot of money. We can already tell that just from a lot of the interest that we're getting, but we got to be smart about it. So as it stands right now, and it could subject to change, and we're a couple months out, prior to launch. Right now we're looking at like a soft cap of $750K, but really we'd be more comfortable in the 1.2 to 1.5 million. And even some of the VC firms that have been looking into this project think we're even undervaluing ourselves. With that said, comes the issue of picking the right launch pad that could sustain such a raise through their exposure, because we are at ERC20 token. So we're being extremely litigious. It's going to be one of our biggest, I guess, issues that we have to deal with in the coming weeks is who do we launch with, and what's the soft and hard cap. And in there is about what we're going to be. I would imagine about 750. I don't think we'll go much lower for soft cap. But again, we're going to be doing some deep forecasting as to if that's accurate, a little bit off, or should be a little less, or a little bit more. But it's going to be in and around that area. So we're going to take our time over the next couple of weeks and really get into those numbers.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a couple of launch pads out there. There's a couple good ones, couple bad ones. Some had a really bad reputation right now, so it's always difficult to choose, you know. 750.
And we're always open to the community. In fact, we love feedback. We like to learn. We like to hear what other people have to say. So I would, for those of you that are on here, I think there's 22 of you, I'd love for you to shoot a little note over to our Telegram channel and just let us know what launchpad you would like to see us listed on.
Well, I saw you advertised already Gempad here, but this is probably just
We did, and we're considering actually perhaps even launching on a couple and splitting it up.
Yeah.
We really liked Gempad because they seemed like we spoke with them, and they were really, really decent people, and we want to support their project. The concern is if we try to raise our complete and full, raise on that, is it won't be sustainable. So, and it's not that it's not doable with the right marketing. It very well may be, but it's certainly a concern. So we're just exploring all options right now, just to be, thoughtful, just as thoughtful as we were with our private sale investors' money. We're going to be that thoughtful with our public sale, investors' money. Where it's about our reputation, right? That's why I'm here. You got my face, because you're not. At the end of the day, I say it a lot. Two Lands could be a great project, could be the best project in the world, but if you don't trust the dev team, that's actually that's steering the ship every day, and that's truly who you're investing in. At the end of the day, is the leadership team. And one of the things about leadership that's important is realizing that you don't have all the answers, you don't know everything, and part of the job of the leader in any of these type of projects, or any startup for that matter, is putting the right people in place that can get the jobs done that you don't know or you can't do as well as others. And so that's been our focus over the last few months. We're trying to put the right team in place, and that's why we've interviewed countless marketing companies and consulting firms, and I think we're getting close now. Sorry, I'll let some questions come in.
No worries. Yeah, I honestly would say, like what you just said, split the pre-sale on more launchpads, because all launchpads have also their hype boys, and they have their community, and you only attract so many people in one launchpad. So if you go and split it, 4 AMAs and 4 launchpads, you get 4 communities involved, and then you have your other communities which coming from AMAs and everything before. So yeah, it's good to not put all your eggs in one basket, like you say normally. So then it's.
And we're gonna probably defer to that consulting firm that we brought in, Moonbound Consulting. He's gonna be instrumental in helping us navigate which decision. And ultimately it's our decision, but he's going to help us. He's going to give us some different avenues through statistical forecasts, saying, hey, if you go this way, it could look like this. If you go this way, it can look like this. If you combine them, and we're going to run those numbers based on other projects that have launched probably in the last year or two, just to kind of see what works and what doesn't. Right? You can't predict the future, so all you can do is try to curb it as best as possible and put your best foot forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually I know Micropets. I don't know the dev before, because I was actually working as a mod in a different project, which always competed with Micropets to the same time. Last year, always for CMC top trending, always for the first 3 spots. They went absolutely parabolic, and they did a really great job on their NFTs. And I think there was one of the first also in the space who did NFT staking. And it was an awesome project, actually.
Yeah, to have him on this team essentially as a strategic advisor is just incredible. Like, we couldn't be happier. Like, if he can do a quarter of what he did for his project, Micropets, like, we're in good hands.
Well, the factor of the market always plays a little bit role now. Last year, I need to say this, last year everything actually mooned, and 10% of them made a lot of money, and the other 90% worked in the end. So this was one of this legit projects. So
I'm hoping though, with the just the general sentiment in the market, it's starting to come to an end. You can listen to all the professionals, and you got one guy says
yeah,
one thing, the other one says the other. I'm hoping that maybe if it's not the bottom, I'm hoping we're maybe another 5 or 7% from the bottom, and that we're gonna have a good early 2023. That's my gut. We'll see. I can tell. I can't speak for other parts of the world, but I can already see here in the United States is that. And one thing about Americans, which you probably already know, is we're pretty fickle. We get tired of news pretty quick. So everyone's already over the inflation narrative that's been on the news here for the last year. So they're starting to spend money again. I could see it just being the restaurant business. They're busier than ever. And with the holidays coming, people are going to start being in the spending mood. And the Fed is getting so much pressure not to raise any more basis points because, frankly, last year or this past year, 2022, was the worst year on record for any billionaires. They didn't make money. And when billionaires don't make money, they call their buddies, and all of a sudden the government starts listening to what they have to say. So I think because of various variables, 2023 hopefully, fingers crossed, is going to be a better year. And for us at Two Lands, and I'm sure a lot of other projects that are releasing right around the time we are, is any projects that are already released can start to ride that wave again. Because I think when some more investor confidence comes in, I think you're going to start seeing people put their money back into it. Because I feel like there's just a lot of people, at least the people I talk to, just sitting on the sidelines. They could just have their money sitting, either fiat or just stablecoin or what have you, and they're just waiting for all signs to point good, and they're just going to buy back into whatever they're into. So I'm hoping. I know I've even done that. So I think right after the holidays, I think we'll start to see a little bit, and that's just my opinion. But I hope I'm right, because that's going to be right around the time that we launch.
yeah, I think the launch time is nice. December 21 here right now. A good time, 2 months time. Gets the hype slowly going, not too much. And the fact that they didn't pay anything else with privacy money is pretty good as well. So, because you don't know if you really launch at this time, if you spend it now and then you don't launch at this time and you have to postpone for 1 or 2 more months, and you sit there without money and have to collect another private. So, I just want to jump quick in that game. I think it looks awesome for a cell phone game. It looks very, very awesome, and I love to play Temple Run. The PC version too.
There's a PC version too. It'll be it's made in Unity, and Glenn, who's basically like a staff member, is like a partner in this now. He worked for Miniclip for many years. Some of the best games of like the 90s and the 2000s, he was instrumental in developing those. So he had a lot of fun with it. I basically told him the concept, and he was on board. He had built a couple runners before, and I kind of let him have fun with it and do what he wanted. I just kind of said, okay, here, look, we're an endless runner. We're based in Egypt. Think Temple Run. Think Relic Run. I want to see some pyramids. I want to see some catacombs. I want to see some, get the Nile River in there, and just like, make this your baby. So he did. Week by week, I'd get, and we developed that back in March and April, and bit by bit, week by week, he would send us, the levels or parts of the levels, and we would then have all our kids test it out, because they're the ones that know video games better than all the old guys like us, or at least me and Glenn. So we let our kids test it out, and we sent some versions to my daughter's friends' cell phones, and they were playing it all. And in fact, I think it's too hard. I think I have to make it a little easier. I might have to call Glenn and be like, "Hey man, can you tone this down?" I know we're going to be winning NFTs and stuff, but this is kind of tricky.
So the winning of NFTs and token and it, so if I play this, I connect with my wallet direct, or is it just really leaderboard based?
Yeah, it's gonna hopefully have two. So we're gonna get it loaded. One of the things that we're happy with Moonbound Consulting and also Glenn is they have experience bringing games to the App Store and Google Play, because it's more challenging now than it ever was, especially Apple. So we're gonna get it on there. which we're thankful about. But also, I'd like to do a version that isn't, linked to the wallet. So you'll have the opportunity if you want to play, the version, just so your kids can play it, or you could link a wallet to it and play it that way, and then play the crypto version. And that's all going to be fleshed out when we bring in Robot Sea Monster that did Axie Infinity. So as soon as post public sale, they're coming in, and we're handing them over to Keys to start really working on that and building out that whole ecosystem. Because, like I said, we want to have a little mini arcade suite of various games that all interact with each other, where you win one NFT or even some coins in one game, and then you could use it to buy a skin or a power up or what have you in another.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome. I love playing Temple Run. It's so funny. So yeah, actually looking forward to this game.
They're pretty addicting.
It's good, like if you can make money with play something, so it's easy.
Yeah, fit the brand, number one, but also, we also want to encourage people that are trying to get into crypto that don't know much about crypto. Maybe they don't want to play some, very niche, play to earn style game. A lot of people are familiar with the Temple Runs of the world, so maybe it'd be worth them trying to play the crypto version of a Temple Run and introduce them to not only Two Lands, right? That's one way to get them in the door, but also to crypto in general. So we kind of look at it from a branding perspective, right? We're always trying to think, like, how can we bring more people in that wouldn't necessarily even know or see our project? How can we attract that investor base? So that was just one of the many little things that, when we decided what kind of game we would start with, that led into that thought process.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just scraping through the white paper again. Very detailed. Everybody, you should have a look in it. Everything very
about the white paper is right now it says that the holder burns and the manual burns for Two Lands, the holder burns and the sacrificial moon phase burns are manual. They will no longer be manual. We're taking it out of the dev team's hands, and those smart contracts are going to be written starting next week. Should take about 10 days. So that's going to be executed via smart contract. We won't have any control over that. So it was one way to take more out of the dev team's hands, so we could garner trust with the community.
Yeah, the roadmap is very, very detailed, and it's realistic. There's nothing like out of the game. I mean, out of the world. I mean, you have a game ready already, so this is like if you have that at launch ready. So for me, then already a buy reason, like I mean, so often you get promised games and it's never coming, and then the project is dead. So this is good.
Not to badmouth other projects, but one token I tend to think we're similar in the fact that we're from the same region would be like Saitama. They're a couple hours away from me, and I own a lot of that project. I have from the day one, and I was really hopeful. I know they've run into issues, but their Wolfcaster game, they've been promising for a year and a half now, and it's still never come out. And I think a project like that, and one of the things that we try to, I think they just had their hands in too many different things, and they were trying and perhaps even growing too fast. And that is such a thing too. You have to learn to manage, and there's no perfect answer, but you can grow too fast too. And when you grow too fast, sometimes things get out of control, and then it starts, and once things are out of control, people notice that, investors notice that. So it's kind of it's a tricky thing where you have to not grow too fast, but still grow fast enough where people remain, interested and engaged in the project. So it's a really fine line, and it requires a lot of thought.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I'm here in your tokenomics and token allocation. I have a question to this 10% team tokens. Through how many people are you going to distribute that 10%? I can't hear you.
The team is myself and Zach, and then our marketing partners will pay out of that as well. But it's all going to be locked.
Okay, so that's good. How long are you going to lock that?
We have a minimum 18 months, but Zach and I are talking about 2 to 5 years.
Awesome.
The reality is, look, at the end of the day, there's plenty of ways for us to make money, right? It's a business. So I'd rather not make money off the token. I'd rather let the token sit locked so that all the investors actually make money off the token. How do I make money? So I don't, so I can focus on this project all day long. Well, that would be through that would be branding. That's why we're looking into all this type of branding where you can start making money in different ways, right? Through the actual branding and those partnerships, and bring in income that way of various other things that don't even necessarily even interact with the token, but it's really just more brand awareness. So that's how Zach and I look at this. It's like, all right, well, let's not even think about the tokens. We want nothing to do with those. Let's lock that. But for us, if we want to truly earn a living doing this 100%, we got to find some other ways to earn money where we can support ourselves, but at the same time, in doing so, it creates more value for the token. So it's a win-win. So that's how we're looking at it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I honestly always say devs should be paid. I mean, I'm a dev as well. They should have salary. They want to do that full time, so everybody can make more money and people can just focus 24 hours on this. That you're gonna lock that for 2 to 3 years. It's a long-term commitment. I really like that. So there's nothing to worry about, So.
Yeah, we'll set up an office. We're gonna get an office outside of the New York City area, and then that's really we're gonna keep things pretty streamlined. Basically, all our money is gonna go right back into marketing and/or liquidity. We've been approached by a couple major exchanges already. I was fortunate enough to attend and be invited to a little cocktail party down in New York City a couple weeks ago with Albank, and I met some of the team over at Albank, and they already have offered us the opportunity to list with them as soon as we're ready. Bitmart has reached out to us already, and a couple others as well. I've just started talking to. So we'll see. Again, it comes down to we're going to be on Uniswap for a bit, and making sure that we have enough money to bring the liquidity needed to some of those exchanges, because they're not cheap. And so that's really all the money. The money that we're going to raise in public sales essentially go to marketing and liquidity, and that's where it should go. And frankly, if you're going to invest in a project, and I don't care what project it is, I would want that dev team to be that would be their only job, working full time, because there's no other way to manage it. There's only so many hours in the day. Currently, right now, I'm putting in 70, 80, sometimes 90 hours a week between the two, between my full time job, which is 60 hours a week already, and then on top, and now this, and I'm loving every minute of it. But as this starts to take over more, I'm going to start shaving that back a little bit. So, and that's the plan.
It's as a hardworking person, I can just say, especially when you have family, you do crypto, you do a full-time job as well. You said you're in a restaurant business. It's very stressful as well. I worked also a couple of years in the restaurant business, so I know how it is. And it's very devastating if you sit 1 year in a project and you don't make money out of it, and you suddenly struggle to pay your bills. That's devastating, So, and then it starts that your project is going to go down because you can't focus on it anymore because you have to worry about other things. So, yeah, devs should be paid, and there's no reason to scam. Very easy.
Yeah, it's like any business, right? People that run the business need to be compensated for their time and effort, or it's not going to succeed.
Exactly. So yeah, let me just go down. Market cap at launch, I'm calculating right now 2.58 million. You're going to be Ethereum based, or you're just going to base on stablecoin?
Yeah, Ethereum.
So if Ethereum will go up, your market cap will go out as well.
For now, we've actually talked about alternatives, but yeah, right now.
Yeah. Awesome. I like also Burn protocol you here implemented. Everything in a white paper, very explained. I like Burns. They're always good, and they always keep the community entertained. It's pretty good. And I like ZDAO. I really like ZDAO, because if you're in ZDAO, you get so much money that you actually don't need to sell one token. If you see here, 25% of the net sales of the game, 10% of the marketplace and the marketplace, 0.5% tax of the transactions, and 25% of merch sales. This can be a lot of money, you know. Merch is very good, games is very good, NFT marketplaces are good coming. How do I come in the DAO?
I'm sure there'll be other things too. I imagine, you know, as we start to scale, there's things we're even missing right here as potential revenue streams that we can then incorporate and also send another. You know, as we build out revenue streams, I'm sure we'll be able to funnel other percentages of those revenue streams to the DAO. Because again, our passion project is to get out there and really help boots on the ground find some really cool things that could, you know, reshape and rethink, you know, the fabric of what, how we view this world, our history, our origin story. There's so much. I mean, we got to stop worried about getting into space so much as finding out who we really are, because, you know, we need to be more united here on this planet. The division just in this country alone is a joke, but I feel like there's something out there that maybe.
Wait, I just lost your sound.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying, you know, it's back to the, you know, to the high mission of this project, and DAO is essentially going to be the way how we help the community decide how to execute on our vision, on our mission. And I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, was that I'm sure we're missing some revenue streams that we haven't even thought of that are going to come into play down the road, where we could potentially take a percentage of that and you know, and donate it to the DAO as well. Like, for instance, just like our 25% merch, you know, what have you. There'll be other revenue streams. We'll be able to take a percentage of that and not keep it all ourselves and be greedy, because we want to help fund the DAO to do what we want to do, what we set out to do. So there'll probably be even more money coming into the DAO once we cross those bridges, which we're looking forward to.
Yeah. So actually, my last question is, how do I? Not two last questions. First of all, how do I make it in the DAO? Like, is there like a minimum hold of tokens, or?
Yeah, it's not going to be very much. It's good. We haven't determined the number, and that's one of the things we're going to talk with Tony from Moonbound Consulting about. Yeah, it's not going to be astronomical, because frankly, everyone's and on the contrary, there's going to be a cap too. So just because a private sale member owns, you know, 1 billion tokens, let's just say, their vote's not going to be much more, you know, than the least amount of person. So we want to make sure everyone has a fair vote. That's important. That it's a democracy. So we're going to figure that out, and we're going to actually pivot probably to Tony to help us figure that out, because he's done this before. So I trust his judgment. So I'm going to listen to what he has to say. And then Zach's a smart guy, and he's a math guy, which I'm not. And between the two of them, I think we're going to be in good shape. And I also, again, I'll open it up to the community. Please, we're open to suggestions. That's how we've been learning. We've been learning every day. So if you have anything, we appreciate your insight. Please get on there on our Telegram. Please join our, you know, our various socials. You know, even if you're not even that interested in the project and the mission, just watch us. Watch what we're going to do. I hope, and I think we're going to impress you. One of the things too is I'd like to start doing, you know, we got to get now that we're starting to do some marketing, we got to get our socials going a bit, so I can start doing Twitter Spaces and going live on TikTok and YouTube and all that kind of fun stuff. Because I'd like to, you know, be able to, you know, sit in my office at night and chat and get to know the community. We don't have to talk about Two Lands. We can just get to know each other. Because again, it's back to, if you're going to invest in a project, wouldn't you want to know kind of, you know, the dev teams and what makes them tick, what they're passionate about, how they think. That's important to us. And I don't know if you've seen, I've done a lot of videos over the course of the last, 3 months. TikTok, Instagram, some of them are on YouTube, but not a lot of them. But they're really just daily updates, not only just about this project, but sometimes just the crypto environment in general, because I'm trying to get out there so that people can feel comfort in the fact that I'm really truly passionate about this project, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make it work.
Awesome. Yeah, I really can feel your passion. So it's good to see, you know. And for 2 months out, Like I'm in your Telegram already anyway since 1.5 week, I think, and for 2 months out, you have already done a lot. So I always said I want to go back in Ethereum, and I think that's my project where I go back in, because you have everything planned, even that Pharaoh token, which we can talk another time about it. I really like that you're thinking about to support the main token of it. I'm normally not a fan of devs doing another project, but if it's transparent and already announced, like even before launch of the first token, I don't have any problem with this. Yeah, so one more question I have. How do I get a whitelist?
That's easy. Right now, we don't have a cap yet. We're just people are just signing up. I have a whitelist page. There's a link right on our Telegram, and I can post it as soon as we get off this chat. But I think it's just Two Lands. It's on Telegram. It's just Two Lands token whitelist, but it can be found right on our channel. And I don't think it's pinned. I think I pinned a different couple of things. So, but yeah, all you gotta do is join the channel. You don't have to do anything else. Just join the channel. Your name's there, and you're in. And then as we get closer and stuff, then we'll take it from there. But for now, it's just getting your name on there. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in that. Let me just post it here. Where was it? I can't post it. I'll find it later, and I'm going to send it here.
Yeah, I did. Tell you what it's called. It is called.
I think only you can share.
Token whitelist.
Okay.
Only 13 subscribers so far, so plenty of time.
You're also 2 months out, so that's
And we've also done
that's
zero
okay.
marketing, with the exception of like this and two other handbags.
Yes,
That's
I
okay.
forwarded.
Slow and steady wins the race.
You don't want, like, from experience, you don't want to do too much in the beginning. 2-3 weeks before launch is the most important, because you're gonna lose the hype otherwise.
Yeah, we don't want to lose steam, and I imagine that's when the majority of the marketing is going to come into play. I think now we're just going to dip our toes in the water, start seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then we're going to pivot to the professionals that we're hiring between the marketing company and the advisory firm we're bringing on. I think we're in pretty good hands, and then all of us will combine our brains to the best of our ability and try and take this thing, to the next level. Because we do realize that this project is going to need serious resources, meaning financially, for it to sustain, and we are asking for a lot of money, and that's okay because that's what's going to need. So for us, it's just how do we get there? What do we do? And that's why it was so important for us to bring in the right people that we feel that can help execute that, to make it, when you hire marketing companies or advisory firms, you got to think of it from a perspective of, all right, well, if you were so good at bringing tokens to, fruition, how come you don't have your own token? So for us, that was one of the things that with Tony and Moonbound Consulting, like, he had already done it. He had already made a ton of mistakes along the way. And sometimes the best things you can learn from a consulting agency is the mistakes they made along the way. So we don't have to repeat that, and we could use that. And also with Tony, because he's as accomplished as he was, he has a network of people that trust him and his decisions. So when when a network person, someone that is a colleague of his says, "Hey, you got any new projects we should be taking a look at?" Well, he loves this project, so hopefully he'll say, "Yeah, you guys should talk to these guys too. Like Jared's pretty cool. Zach, they have a good thing going, and we're helping them take this thing to the next level." So sometimes when you try to do things yourself and try and do the marketing yourself and not pay the professionals to really help you and navigate those uncharted waters, it's not just for their marketing and or advice. Sometimes it's for their contacts and their connections too, because in this world, and even so much as what I've just seen, in the last couple of months, just starting to get the people, it's all a little bit, and I've noticed that, and to a certain extent, that's life, and that's how this world works, anyways. But I could see this crypto world, as big as you think it is. What I can tell you, it's smaller than you think it is, and it's, to a certain extent, there's all who you know. So I mean, it's just the way the world works, and it's no different here. I've been noticing that now.
Yeah, this world is really small. I started losing $3,000 in Ethereum worked my way up from a mod. Had my own project, or actually two. I did a relaunch and made a lot of friends actually, and have my own channel and get supported by actually by big community channels already. So yeah, it's very, if you know the right persons, you can save actually a lot of money in that space, or even get free stuff. You just need to know the right person and the right connections. And also for other people who are like not fortunate enough to invest a lot of money, there's a lot of possibilities even to make money in crypto without even investing. And then investing, use that money to invest in projects, maybe two lens, and double, 3 times, 5 times, 100x your investment. You know, there's so many possibilities. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we're fortunate. I feel like we're in a good spot where we did have a significant raise in our private sale. So I think that it makes us have an advantage. Obviously there's other projects that raise a lot more money, but just for a little word of mouth, you know, private sale, between some, I think there's maybe 18 or 20 investors, maybe. I'd have to count, but it's not a lot. So for us to just kind of contact our friends and family and raise 80,000 in like a month and a half, I think they have a lot of faith in us, not even the project. So I'm hoping I can, garner that faith in a public sale and the investors, the people listening to this chat, and all the ones that we're going to meet along the way. I want to get out there. I want to meet people. I want to talk. I want to talk about the project. One of the things that's obviously bothering me about the Telegram channel, and for anyone that's been watching, it's just turned into one big solicitation. And, it's one of those things. I keep posting every day, hey guys, I'm getting 300 DMs a day. Like, give me some time to get back to it. I also have a full-time job that operate two busy restaurants. So I'll get there when I can. And but at the same time, I want the community to start talking about the mission. I want the community to start asking questions about the tokenomics and how we're going to execute. I want I want this to start turn into more of a passion project for everyone, and seeing how as a community we can all rally. And one of the things is, I don't like to consider ourselves a meme coin in any way, because we're a high mission project. But what I will say is that I certainly understand the community strength and how communities rally for meme coins, perhaps better than any other. So, for us, it seems like we'd like to fit in to be kind of a happy medium of both. So, like, we could maybe be categorized in that meme coin genre, if you will, as from a community perspective, but our mission is different, and how we plan to execute our longevity as a project is different. So hopefully we can kind of tap into both a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah. We are actually 90 minutes in. And I
must be late there.
yeah, midnight actually. But yeah, I really think you touch base everything, and you have actually to talk more than 90 minutes on it. So, but yeah, it's a huge project. So I like it. I don't give financial advice, everybody, and please do your own research. And I think you always should do that anyway with your own money. But I think honestly, this is something to keep an eye out, especially on Ethereum base. Always the big projects are all on Ethereum base. In Binance, you only have meme coins; they only last 2 to 3 months. But long life projects are in Ethereum, so I think that's a worth to keep an eye out.
That's why we chose it. And I'm going to say one last thing. For those of you that are getting in now and listening to this, you are so early. What I'm going to say is, here's a little hint. I want you to start looking into all our marketing. When you start seeing things come out, look for little Easter eggs in every little thing we do. Because what I can tell you is, we got something coming down the road. When this thing shaves to zero, it's going to be so cool that you're then going to have to go back and sift through a bunch of stuff. Think Da Vinci Code, think Indiana Jones, but I can't wait to share it with you. Concept's already finished. We just need this thing to go and take off a little bit, because what we're going to do is going to change one person's life. I can promise you that. So just keep an eye out for all little things along the way, because it's all been planned. It's all been from day one. And just keep an eye out. That's all I have to say. Look for things. And find that inner explorer inside you. There's stuff to find already.
Awesome, Jared. Thanks for coming. I wish you good luck for the 2 months now until launch. Feel free to drop any updates here in the channel or in my DMs. And I try to keep popping in sometimes in the channel if I have some time.
I appreciate it.
And I will be there for launch, I think. So, yeah.
I really appreciate it. And again, please, for all you folks listening, if you have any questions that you didn't get answered, get onto one of our socials, please, and just fire away. I'll respond. I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jared. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, folks. You guys enjoy your weekend, okay?
You too.
Thank you very much. Be well.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.